today we are at Middle Creek Wildlife Management Area. I'm not sure exactly what area this is. It's outside of Lancaster, past Mannheim. I'll have to look that up when I get home. And we are going to be starting out on the Spice Bush Trail, and we're going to be making a loop through several other trails. Small parking area over there. Seems pretty quiet and private. Not sure how well the trail, I really don't know very much about this trail, so we'll find out kind of as we go along. There's like a little tiny creek running alongside the trail, and it appears to be pink or red markers, and you have the little ramps and boardwalks, I guess in areas that it used to be boggy or still is boggy. But there is so much here. There's little berries, fox grapes I assume, and there's your jewelweed. This is probably the wildlife management area. We're still on these nice little boards to walk on, and at this point the Spice Bush Trail kind of splits right or left, and we are choosing to go to the right. And it does make a loop, and there's several different trails on this loop, but this, as far as I can see from what we walked, was the Spice Bush Trail. So we're still walking on these boards. Not sure when that's going to end. Maybe right up here. But this place smells so good. I don't know what it is, but there is a really cool blend of smells in this forest. I don't know how to describe it, but it's very inviting. So we're walking along, and it kind of scatters between this kind of a terrain and the boards. So that's just so far. We're not that far in. It's still pretty well groomed, and it's still very well marked. Haven't seen anything exciting or unusual yet, but we still haven't figured out what that awesome smell is. So we're turning off of the Spice Bush Trail and for a short distance on the Valley View Trail, and we will be going down and around the Fireline Trail here. Lots of different trails on this particular loop within this Middle Creek wildlife area. So we're going to find out as we go. Every step is new. So at this point we crossed over a road, and actually it's still the Valley View Trail according to this, but eventually will turn into the Fireline Trail. So now the blazes are white, it looks like. This forest is very quiet. You can still hear some birds, and you can still hear the traffic, of course, but there's a blue trail. I see blue blazes that way too. So probably so far, this is the most interesting thing I've seen is this whole bunch of trees just falling down the hill. Most of the trail is really easy to walk, and there's different color blazes, so don't just follow blazes on this particular app map. So there are good things about it. It's not buggy. Some spider webs, but not a ton. But there's not, so far, a lot of interesting stuff. When I originally planned to do this trail, we had looked at the Elders Run Trail in the same forest, and both of these trails had significant amounts of pictures of ruins of the furnaces and such like that, but we have not run into any of them yet, so we're just walking along here. This tree fell. Massive root system, very smooth bark. It's got some carvings on it. Very, very, very big tree. Massive. So we came out of the woods, and now we are on the actual Elders Run Trail, and we're going up a slight grade gravel path, road, and up the corner here we're gonna have to make a decision whether we want to continue on with the Elder Run Trail or we want to go do part of the Horseshoe Trail. Okay, after coming up that semi-long but low-grade hill, we're at the top. It looks a little flatter. Up ahead, there's a bench and a sign. So we'll see what's going on up here. Okay, I think we've decided to stick with our original plan and go first try the Elders Run Trail. What we're looking for here is some of the pictures of this trail. There was some structures, ruins, if you will, of furnaces and like, and kind of really wanted to run into them. However, both of the trails that I downloaded, they had pictures of different ruins. So far, we really haven't seen anything except beautiful nature, of course.
I see red on your top.
What? Yeah. Oh, what was I saying? We haven't really seen any structures or any big points of interest or anything like that. And that's why I come out to these places that, you know, if they're, this was an hour and 10 minutes away from home. And I drive to them so I can see these things. It's not just about being out in the woods and being in nature. I like to see historical things and points of interest, overlooks, water features and stuff. Sometimes you just don't. So finally, we've been walking down this gravel part here, and I just happened to look off because I saw a path here, and there's the structure. One of the structures I was looking for. This one had the most pictures, and it's part of the furnace. So let's go check it out. These are the kind of things I come to see. That's a furnace, they said, on, I think. But it's got this housing sort of structure built around it. So it is a fireplace in there. So maybe this was a house. I have to go back and look at some of the pictures. None of the pictures on All Trails Alone really talk much about the history or the names of these particular structures. But if you go and do a Google search, they usually tell you a lot more about what the particular function of some of these ruins are. This to me looks like a house because it looks like this could have been a doorway, and that looks like a regular fireplace. That doesn't mean it's true. I mean, I have very limited skills with that kind of stuff, but this is still very cool to find out in the middle of the woods. And if you follow that dirt path, it's off of the main trail, which is Elders Run Trail. There's a little dirt path that leads down to that first ruin, and I saw that it continues. It's a little dirt path that runs right along the side of the main trail. And here's another structure. This one even has little steps, stone steps to get down into it. And a little creek runs through there. Wow. And what is this? There's a clown that lives in there. Look at this. It's another little, and that is full of water. So I wonder if this was like a spring house. A big old web there. Kind of afraid to look up. I don't see any bats. I think it's too close to the entrance to be for bats, but what a neat little structure. And I think it's a spring house because there's water in there and there's a spring running down through it. Very cool structure. So So we're back up to the gravel path. And I'm just going to keep my eye out for other structures along here in the woods as we go down through, and other little paths, because usually if you see a little path, it's going to take you to somewhere or something. And I like to keep an eye out for that kind of stuff, because I've found my best adventures fall in that boundary line. So we're still ambling along here since we left those structures. We're still on a gravel path, and this is still Elders Run Trail. The forest is very thick and very lush. Lots of pine trees. It's a nice walk. You know, it's flat, it's not hard. I'm not fond of walking on gravel, but it's better than walking on, I don't know, mud or ice. So, you know, appreciate the little things. And like even something like this, it's amazing to me. That's an old vine, probably a poison ivy vine, but it's solidified and it goes all the way up. And even though it's poison, I can still appreciate you, because you are a life and you belong. Coming up to this really cute little bridge and some flowing water. I knew I heard water somewhere, I just couldn't figure out where it was coming from. Very pretty. I just got out my water here. We're coming up to this really cute bridge. At least there's cute bridges and a couple little streams along this trail, but it's one that you really have to watch where you're putting your feet, because there's so many stones that just sticking up everywhere. There's a stream here. It's part of the same stream. I found out it's Middle Creek stream, Middle Creek Run or something. So it's part of the name of the park is Middle Creek. This is part of Middle Creek. It's a neat little bridge, and almost, you know, it looks really new. I like the structure of it though. It's just a little different in the way it's constructed. Because it's over top of another bridge here that is obviously an old, we can go around actually. I think I'm going to go down and around. It doesn't say private property. I don't see any purple blazes. A little tricky through here. But see these stone structures? This is what it was built on top of. And I think that's pretty cool. Because you know this is old. That's a beautiful moss. And there is a really cool house over there too. I believe it's private property, but there were no blazes along the trail saying you couldn't come down here. In fact, it looks like over on that side would have been easier to come down. We turned off of the Elders Run Trail and we're now on the Middle Creek Trail, which is looping back to the car. I just found something most interesting, and when I get home I have to look it up. I know that they're called something, but I can't remember at the moment. But they're being found all over the state, and there is a name for them. I know someone out there will know what I'm talking about. But right now we're just still walking through the woods, and little piles of stones and some different blazes And the path looks like this. It's continuing to be rocks sticking up. So typical Rocksylvania stuff. Haven't seen any more structures though. But this is a nice walk here because it's shaded and the path is pretty well groomed. I mean, yes, you have the rocks, but there's no overgrowth. And there's still some pretty stuff to be seen. You just have to look around. This is kind of cool. It's like a stream that's coming from under the path and going down into this really cute little body of water, little stream. The color of this stream, because of the reflections on the water, it almost looks like a seafoam green. And it's just very clear. Like, I would drink out of that with a filter, but I'd drink out of it. And it's going the whole way along this trail, so I'm assuming this is just continuing to be part of Middle Creek. And we still have some of these boards that we walk across here and there. So it's nice that we don't have to walk through muddy, boggy parts on the trail. Look at this beautiful pile of rocks in the middle of this creek. There's these tiny little waterfalls coming down through. And lots of moss-covered rocks, which is one of my favorite things. And just the stream, it just keeps going on and on. So finally we get to a beautiful water feature, and actually it's been alongside us for a little while now. And I'm so happy. So happy. So here we are, we're still walking along the creek in the woods here. We're a little over 3.5 miles and we got a little ways to go yet. My thoughts were I thought this was like a 3.2 mile hike, but it never turns out the way you think it does. But it's been a beautiful walk. We haven't been hot. They had a little bit of upgrades. In that way, I mean ascensions. But it was very mild. And thank goodness we're off the gravel. I just kind of wish these little tiny pointy rocks would get out of my way, but you know, can't have everything. Okay, so we're finally out of the woods again, just very briefly though. This is the Middle Creek Trail that we just came off of, and we're right by a road, very, very loud. And it comes out to this road, but it immediately goes back into the woods. And let me tell you, both of the original trails we were going to follow, one said 3.2 and the other one said 3.4. We are already at 4.4 miles, and we have at least another mile to go, if not more. So the mileages aren't correct. Oh well, what did I expect? It's hard to see through the trees, but right across the street here, there's a road, and then there is the Middle Creek Reservoir. And it's a pretty big reservoir. But I doubt on this trail we'll be able to see it clearly because of all the foliage. So we just were walking along and I saw something off to the left and it looked really strange. I thought it was some kind of caterpillar or maybe fungus or something, and I turned it over. It was a little bat, a little tiny bat that was dead. And then Julian started looking around and they're all over the place here. They're live, just hanging around out in the trees. Wow. That's the last thing I thought I would see on this trail, especially this close to the trail. But that's kind of cool because I've never run into Bat City before.
And water, and then you just drink.
Ew.
Yeah, and it hits you almost instantly.
This is a big one. Huge. Little chipmunk under the log. He's just sitting there. Hi, little chipmunk. We have to go by you. You're gonna have to move.
Oh, this is the.
So we crossed the road back over. We're almost done. We're finishing out the loop here, and we're back to the trail boardwalk. Julian calls it the trail boardwalk. We have a lot of boards to walk over, but it is nice that we have them. And I can say it was a pretty interesting trail after all. It wasn't like super, super exciting, but the little things that we did see were pretty cool. And, you know, I never regret coming on a trail, especially a new one that I haven't done before. Because no matter what you find, there's something new to find. Okay, we're almost back to the car. We're still on these little boardwalks, and we'll soon be on our way home. I think the total miles was a little bit over 5 miles, whereas I anticipated just a little over 3 miles. But it was still a good time, and saw some neat stuff. And I will see you at home.